Do all black men think the same? That's a lot more interesting in my opinion.
Black men that date white women, there's something different, and there's nothing wrong with
Oh
it.
shit. We are literally getting into wee woo wee woo. We are getting into black people's business right now, dude. That's right. Wee woo wee woo.
That, but you know what it is. Like you oh, okay, Childish Gambino, I can see that. Jordan Peele, okay, I can see that.
I am expected to have a good 3, 2.
What the f-? Yo, they came out swinging, dude. That is an insane thing.
1, go.
What is this moment of truth, dude?
Nobody disagrees. Yo. Yeah, I feel like it's a stereotype. And we know that stereotypes aren't realistic, but I mean, personal encounters, I don't feel like there's leeway. I feel like, okay, that one we're keeping. Like that's what the general notion is.
I think it gets into the issue of positive and negative stereotypes and how people need to realize that there is no such thing, because what you do is you put people into a box where they're expected to live up to a standard. And I feel like it's over sexualizing black men. You know, you should want to date someone more for the pleasure physically that they can bring to you. And I know I've talked to people personally who will be like, oh, you're lucky you're black. You have a big member. And I'm like, well, I have other things to offer too. Like, I'm well-spoken. I have a good sense of humor.
He didn't deny it. I was like half expecting him to be like, I actually don't. Like, yeah, I got a fact, whatever, dude.
Humor. I'm well-traveled. Like, you go straight to like what's underneath my zipper.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my experience a lot of times, especially, you know, meeting different people. That's the expectation. And I just tell them, 2-inch Punisher, you know, don't expect too much. I'm just joking, but it's I think a lot of people watch a lot of porn too, and that's where it comes from. Like, you see, you know, these mandingos and, you know, 10-inch monsters, and they expect that to be reality. And a lot of times it's not, but that's the expectation that they have. So
Our audience submit hot takes about this group specifically, and they are hot. So black men cheat on their significant others far more
Oh,
than
that's bullshit. Black men don't cheat.
other races.
I'm just like, where is this study published? Did someone do some research where they calculated numbers over a given period of time?
The reason why I was going to be neutral is I don't know.
Weird question. Everybody knows this.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I disagree.
So I came this way because of the keyword far more. I was like, do black men cheat? In generally, like you're not apt to not cheat because of the color of your skin.
To prescribe this to race feels nefarious in a way that I feel like it was coming from a place of somebody that got cheated on by a black man. Like, it was like, yeah, black men cheat all the time. Come on, this doesn't even make sense.
Black men are attracted to big butts.
Did a 14-year-old who like spends all their time on 4chan write this question?
Do we agree with that statement, or do I personally?
Damn, this dude is literally like, no, I love tiny asses. Like he didn't just like disagree. He was like, no, as a matter of fact, I literally love tiny butts.
I mean, there's nothing biologically innate to like black men to, you know, to like ass.
I think it ties into hip hop and the whole strip club scene right now. We are so far gone from like the natural aesthetics of just a natural person that right now it's all about who has the baddest ass. Who ass is 25 pounds with 2-pound legs. You know what I mean? Like that's hot for some reason. And I personally don't get it. I mean, it looks unnatural to me, like, you know, but I mean, a nice ass is just a nice ass though.
Bro, black people are funny, and if you ever try and roast one of them, they will roast your ass so hard that you'll have no roast to rebuttal.
Why'd they have a white dude read that one? Maybe he's not white. I'm sorry. I don't know.
How did I digest that?
I get what he's saying. I think black people as a collective are funny.
If you go to black Twitter,
I mean, like, these are literally stereotypes, right? I guess the whole point is like they're supposed to show how different their points of view are. It's like Twitch chat wrote these questions, bro. Like Twitch chat, in between spamming tryhard, wrote these questions about black people.
Twitter, if you go to Black Instagram, Black Facebook, like you're going to laugh. So I think that in that aspect, that's why like that statement has so much truth in it, because you just, it's like,
So I guess it's like the question is like, black people as a whole, are they funny? Or is like any black person gonna knock your ass off because he's super funny? Like, I think that's just the difference.
Yeah.
Black people as a whole, like, yeah, they got jokes, you know, it goes back and forth, cool.
that's why I said as a
But
collective.
don't think that any black person you go to expect like a really good joke, you know?
The N-word should stop being used by all races.
Oh, let's go, dude. That's right. That's a white person who wrote that. 100%.
3, 2, 1, go.
The classic, if I can't say it, nobody can. Yep, 56% agree. Dude, this is so good. I love this. This is my favorite. So there's like varying degrees of white folk that have an opinion on the N-word. The only thing that is universal for white people 100% is that they have an opinion on the N-word, okay? It could be a good one, it could be a bad one, it could be a silly one, but every white person has an opinion on the N-word. Now, you go to the furthest right and you have the most racist white guy who says, I should be able to say it. Why can't I say it? Okay? Then you go a little bit more to the progressive side of the spectrum. Then you have the guy who's like, well, you know, I should be able to say it in private what I want to, but like, you know, and sometimes it might slip out, it's whatever, but like, I get it. It's like not something I could say. And then you go a little bit further to the more progressive side of the spectrum, and it's like, well, you know, if I can't say it, nobody can say it. Black people shouldn't say it either. And then, of course, you have the normal people who are like, yeah, just like white people should not be able to say it. Well, yeah, the most racist white person just says it. Yeah, right.
That's hard. I just think the N-word, when you look at the root of the word, even slaves would use it to describe other black people when accepting their supposed oppression. So I just think, when I think about that, I don't think you can do anything to erase the history and the blood that's been shed on that word. There are so many people who the last thing they heard was the N-word as they were being murdered. So when I think about that, yes, I think the word should stop being used.
Personally, me, I feel like it kind of starts with us. The fact that we make it so cool within music and within like entertainment that
Why did you say supposed?
it lets other people feel like they have a pass, or that it's okay because my favorite rapper said it, or I heard it here, or you guys say it all the time. How come I can't say it? But at the end of the day, it's black culture pain. And if anyone's going to be using it, it should only be us. And that's it.
You can't really own a word. I think, you know, we can own it in the sense where it's a black cultural thing, but the idea where we kind of make it out to where we say like, oh, other people can't say it, I think that's more of like a insecurity within the black culture of not being able to hold power, because historically, it's like, right, historically, black people didn't have as much power, so we're trying to hold on to literally a word that only has meaning because we add meaning to it.
I mean, respectfully, I ain't trying to hear that, right? Like, I feel like the only reason it's policed so much, and I feel like the only reason we even have like this debate.
This could go either way. I hope he's gonna save the combo. I hope.
Or this debacle over whether we can use it or not is because we're black people. And I'm not one of those people that think everything is racist and all that, but in this specific instance, right? In several instances, women
If I have a white girlfriend, I'm black, I'm gonna force her to say it just for fun / my kink.
many instances.
That dude is the reason why I see so many threads on black Twitter about black women getting very upset at black men. Is that dude, okay? You are responsible, sir. You are individually responsible for this. Okay. Sometimes I peek in. I open the door and I peek into black people's business, and then immediately I shut it off. I close it. I don't want to see too much, you know?
Instances have reclaimed the word bitch to be a term of endearment. There are, in the 90s, there was heavier women reclaimed the word fat, obviously respelling it and things like that. But I feel like in those instances, nobody bats an eye. Why is that understood?
I try to get my white girlfriend to do it, but she refuses as well, so I just pretend she says it. It works the same.
But with this, it's
$5 says you cancel by Black Twitter tomorrow.
so
Wait,
confusing.
why?
Like,
What
don't
did I do
know.
this time? I didn't say anything about Nicki Minaj. Okay, I'm sorry. I've already got canceled by Black Twitter. It was so sad, but what are you gonna do? Saddest.
Like, you know when there are boundaries set, and that word is one of the boundaries that I think we have respectfully and rightfully set up for ourselves. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to hear the like, if we use it, why can't it? We do that all the time with a bunch of different things. And I don't think this should be one of the areas where we're like, yeah, let everybody, nah, I'm not.
Well, I think it goes back to where you're saying boundaries. Because when you break down to inner communities where, you know, blacks and Asians, blacks and whites in hip hop culture, where there's like, it's 5 group of friends and their black friends don't care. They're like, say it. Like that happens. So it's like, we're having this broad conversation, and, you know, I know all of us aren't trying to be the spokespeople for black people, right? But it's like, it's such a convoluted, I guess, topic where it's like the expectations aren't clear to people depending where you are. If you're on the East Coast, West Coast, like it's very unclear. That's what I think. I'm not arguing whether or not it's okay to say it or whether white people should say it. I'm just saying, if we don't want white people to say it, I think it needs to be very clear. And I think even in
I thought it was. Since when is it not?
fact, in this new age of our culture, I think we're seeing more people saying we don't want white people to say it.
Homophobia.
I think that was more of a self-report. Like, it's other people saying it's okay. Nah, still ambiguous. How is it ambiguous? Wasp was just mad they don't have a fun word to say. Every white ethnic group has their word, and they should start to embrace them amongst themselves. For example, I'm Jewish. I was in a Jewish fraternity, and I call all my brothers the K word. I think, like, I mean, that's definitely true. I think, like, wasps do want something. They want, like, a crumb of oppression. But the other thing is, like, even if in your own little circle, like, you have the black kid in school, and oftentimes it's like that. There's like one or two black kids at school that like see that as like a form of being accepted in like an otherwise hostile environment. That's not universal. Like the N-word pass or whatever if you guys had any assumption that that's universal, let me just tell you, like, that's not. Okay, that's a thing that you might have between you and your friend. It's not like a real thing.
Is a big issue in the black community. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wait, what did he say? What was the question? Homophobia?
Black
Oh, shit.
community. 3, 2, 1, go.
A lot of us black men, we will rather be friends with the homie that, you know, probably has a rape attached to his name than the homie that's part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that that's something that, you know, we got to work on as people, because my thing is, I don't understand the whole big phobia of, okay, what he decides to do in his free time or behind closed doors, why does that bother you so much? Why does that affect you? Like, why do you feel like it's such like the scum of the earth?
And I also think it comes from religion, because I don't want to get too controversial with that, but people are very religious, especially in the black community, you know, Christians. And you know, when you talk about the Bible, you know, they say, you know, homosexuality is a sin. So a lot of people have that ingrained in their mind. This is absolutely not right. And for a lot of people too, when they see a man, they want to see a manly man, and they associate that with being straight.
Heterosexual men have a fear that homosexual men will treat them how they treat women, if that makes sense. And so they're afraid of that treatment. And I'm on somewhat agree, because I'm rather torn. I think I've lived a life where I'm around very open-minded, inclusive people. So I'm not sure how big of an issue it is in the community, but I know that in the black church sphere, homosexuality is often made out to be the worst thing that you can be. There's almost nothing worse than being gay. And I think that's also where some of the homophobia comes from. We like to ignore all the other sins, all the other things that the Bible outlines that are not, you know, holy. And then we just take homosexuality and we make it the worst. You know, granted, the Bible says it's an abomination. I get that. But the Bible says any sin will send you to hell. So
I think some black people see homosexuality as bourgeois decadence, like through social conditioning. And that's the difference between, like, which it isn't, by the way, obviously. But, like, that's the difference between, stop question marking, I'm going to describe it. It clearly is not, but That's the difference between like the other sins that he's mentioning in comparison to being gay. You get what I mean? Like other sins are recognized as like sins of sins that revolve around material conditions and all that sort of stuff. Like we're a product of our environment, that sort of thing. Whereas like it's seen as like an abstract point that is outside of that, where it's like you're engaging in like decadent behavior. Also, you guys know what my take is on this, where white people are homophobic as fuck. So a lot of people will single out black people and forget that like not all the white people are like the white people in your neighborhood. There are a lot of white people that are insanely homophobic still to this day. So yeah, goalpost moving. What? I love when someone is like too stupid to understand the point I'm making, so they go, "Dang, goalpost moving." Dumbass. I think that's an insane reach, ascribing some weird shit to black people. I'm saying that like there's homophobia in every community. Black people see being gay as losing respect and selling out to bourgeois white decadence. You called it. And it's not true. Obviously, it's not true. I'm just saying that like that could be one of the reasons. Adultery, murder, incest, and even pride are much greater sins than being homosexual. I'm saying this is a Muslim that supports the LGBT community 100%. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Religion is never like actually about following it to a T. It's all about your interpretation, the interpretation of your community, your own personal interpretation. So we've moved beyond that already. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm looking for like alternative examples outside of religious upbringing. You know what I mean? And saying that it's a singular reason is always incredibly stupid. So I'm not saying that it's just that some black people see it as a bourgeois decadence, bourgeois white decadence specifically, like some shit that rich people do, or it's like a privilege. Anyway, let's keep going.
You can't be pro-black and date a white person. 3, 2, 1, go.
I think really the issue with this statement is, for me, if you are a stand-up person and you stand up on your morals and your character, it doesn't matter who you date. And I think a lot of the issue is a lot of people get into, interracial relationships, or they date white people and they forget who they are. And if you are pro-black, it doesn't matter if you're dating a black person, a white person, because you can date a white woman and a black woman and still not even be for the cause. So I really think it's up to the person if they stand on their morals or not.
I agree to a certain extent, but personally me, I feel like if you're pro-black, you're pro-black for everything. Like you're for the advancement of the race, you're for businesses, you're for everything black. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how someone can be pro-black and want so much for, the black culture and the black race, and then they're in a relationship with someone that doesn't represent that,
So are you saying that if you are black and you're pro-black, you can?
I love this distribution because if you look at little like debate lord weirdos on the internet, they think all black people are like this. And even then, his reasoning is probably not as like Dr. Umar as you would think. But in fact, most people are just normal and they don't have a straight separatist point of view. This is actually a really controversial question in the black community. I hate it so much, but the community is actually split on it. I mean, but it's not like, I don't know. This dude is just racist. No, I think racism is a powerful word. That's why white people hate being called racist. So saying that a person who has developed their point of view through intergenerational trauma is not the same as someone who did not have that and developed their point of view regardless. Not every black person that thinks like this is like straight up Dr. Umar Hotep, black nationalist, black separatist, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And I don't think, is it an even split? I would not say it's an even split, but then again, obviously I'm not black and can only judge by my friendships. If you're actively against race mixing, you're a racist. Quit making excuses for him. Oh. Yes, as a black person who's like, yo, fuck white people, he is being discriminatory towards white people, even if he's not even saying that. The point he's saying is that, yes, I personally think his point of view is distorted. I wouldn't put it in the same category as a white person who's like, yo, no race mixing with black people. You know what I mean? There's always going to be people that have like weird takes like this.
And not act on attraction to someone from another race?
Personally, I'm not pro-black, but in my mindset, like I'm saying, if you're pro-black,
He said, I'm not pro-black. He's like, I have a white girlfriend. I feel shame. But that's why I'm not pro-black.
Wouldn't find someone that's not black attractive to me. Not saying attractive, but you wouldn't even want to cross that line and even engage in a relationship with them. You can have like, you know, like lust.
How is anti-race makes it more acceptable from black people? It's still unacceptable, I think. I personally think that being anti-miscegenation is ridiculous and wrong. But I think what he's more so trying to say is that, like, if you're super pro black people, then you, like, you know, you don't fuck a white person, you fuck a black person. He's not even, it's a standard that he himself is not even holding on to. Well, but anyway, yeah, it's the same as trans versus super straight. One is a relationship based on trauma from being subjugated versus being the oppressor. Yeah. These aren't specific opinions about the question, chat. It's their opinions on what they think about the black community. Saying you shouldn't date white people if you're pro-black isn't as much about not dating white people at all. It's about making sure that if you do, they're actually a good person. Not just anybody. If you're going to date a white person as a pro-black person, you should at least be a very good ally. I think there are definitely people on the edges that would literally be like, no shot. And it happens all the time. Light-skinned black person saying the age-old, you can't betray the black. We are all black bodies who suffer the same when the hammer comes down. Dr. Umar is the logical end to the convoluted tree of dating only black. Me and my senior backing college break down that it's ultimately the same thing white people say when they avoid dating other races. Once again, I want to make my position clear so people don't misunderstand me. I think that people coming at it from a place of trauma are thinking about it from the point of view of protectionism, intergenerational trauma. It's still wrong. Especially, it's additionally idiotic if you're like trying to subject others to that ridiculous standard and that you're not allowed to like date white people if you're a black person, especially considering that, you know, their grandparents literally fought and in some instances died for that as a crime back in the day. So obviously that, among other reasons, is precisely why I believe that this is like a totally backwards ass take. Okay. I don't agree with it. I don't even think he agrees with it. He's saying it himself. Like, he doesn't, it's a position that he doesn't personally hold either. But even then, I feel as though despite it being wrong, it's still not equally wrong in the sense that it comes from a place of trying to protect it, trying to protect one another. It's wrong though. It's still wrong and it's ridiculous.
It's like, hey, you know, she's an attractive white woman, but ideally, you want black kids, you want black family, you want your lineage to carry on.
I don't know. I feel like the question in itself kind of like low-key negates the demographics of the country. I mean, black folks make up 13% of the country, roughly, and a lot of the time we live in concentrations. So, you know what I'm saying? If you in Iowa, it's gonna be a little tough to find you like a black woman, especially somebody that might identify as pro-black with you. So I think it depends on what you do, not who you decide to be with.
My first response to that is like, what's the point of looking at people differently? It's like we get upset that people do it to us in generally, like looking at black people and judging them and stereotyping them and making assumptions about them. It's like, so on the flip side, why should we be doing that to other people regardless of who, you know, they're in a relationship, depending on the color of their skin?
I'm not gonna lie, I do. Like I look at people differently based on who they marry. Because dating, you know, you could be dating for fun. I feel like I look at people different based on who they marry. Like Jordan Peele, Childish Gambino, I feel like I can look at them and be like, I'm not looking.
Bro, he has. That's immediately what my mind went to. It's like very famous black celebrities that get eaten up by black Twitter in a lot of instances in like incredibly high profile campaigns, but like it ultimately doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
Down on them. I don't think of them negatively, but I'm like, oh, I see. And like, oh, okay, I see. Like, because like black men that date white women, there's something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what it is. Like oh, okay, Childish Gambino, I can see that. Jordan Peele, okay, I can see that. I can't think of another example, but I feel like I can tell. Like, okay, like that's cool. You know, I'm happy, you happy. It's no disrespect to them, but I see the difference.
I prefer a light-skinned partner to a dark-skinned partner. 3, 2, 1, go.
Bro, I feel like I can see racist people watching this and being like, them blacks, they're just like us. That's why I need to state. That's why everyone was wrong when they called me racist. Like, like they watch this and get the absolute wrong message. You know what I mean?
light-skinned partner to a dark-skinned partner.
I don't play them colorism games over here.
All right, so the reason why subconsciously for me, the reason why I feel that way is, growing up, I was always, bullied for my skin color. I always felt out of place. I was always told I'm not black enough. And when you constantly hear that and you get beat down with that and, you doubt yourself. And like I said, I grew up in a broken home. I grew up in a foster care system. So it took me a long time to figure out myself. And for a lot of times, I don't tell a lot of people this, but I used to hate the way I looked. I was like, I don't like being dark skinned. I want to be light. And I'm just being honest, but now I'm more comfortable with myself.
I guess I have a question. Do you think it's because you look at a potential partner as...
I don't know why he said he wasn't black enough. Like, what does that even mean? Are they saying that he's so dark that he's like, they bullied him for being an immigrant or something? Like, oh, he means he acts white. Shut up. His mannerisms. Oh. Pago Hasan, what do you mean? Like, bro, there's Pago Hasan. What? Like, nothing I said there was like, nothing I said there was a Pago inducing. Yes, a lot of darker black people are oftentimes not African descendants of slaves, but instead immigrants that came, first generation immigrants, second generation immigrants, third generation immigrants, for obvious reasons, by the way, that you understand. Stop. I'm not saying anything. I literally said nothing wrong. Black counselor in school told my parents I wasn't black enough and needed more black friends. Yo, I feel like white people in the chat act like slavery didn't exist or something. Like, well, why do you think you think Washington is a historically black or rather African last name? Is that what you guys think? Is that what's going on? Why do you think that how do you guys think that happened? It's also the same reason why I just said that. When you're black and you're around other people that don't share your same cultural capital, they call your blackness into question because you don't perform in the same way they do.
It's lighter skin so that your potential children or so would be lighter skin so they don't have to go through what you feel like you went through?
Nah,
bro, I watched Hamilton. There wasn't that much slavery. Lin-Manuel Miranda said so. They all just rapped and it was cool. Yeah, that's how it was like.
At the end of the day, for me, I'll marry whoever I seem fit. So it really doesn't, to me, matter about the skin color, but I will admit subconsciously, I do think, when I see a light-skinned woman, I actually, look a little longer, or I might linger a little longer, or be a little more interested just because of, that consciousness that I had growing up. So it's not something that I say that dark-skinned women are far unsuperior or light-skinned women are more superior. It's just because of the constant beat down and the constant hatred about me being dark-skinned and the way I was treated, that subconsciously I do think that way.
But do you feel like you have some sort of like self-hatred because of that?
Yeah, well, not anymore, because it took me a long time. I mean, this started happening, like I said,
So
when I was
sad,
6,
dude.
when I got in foster care. So, but
Like, this is a great example, right? Look, listen. This is something that I will never understand. This is something that white people will never understand. Being black can be such a burden on your own development, on the way you see yourself, to a degree that even amongst other black people, there's an additional layer of the oppression that you can face in the form of colorism. A thing that definitely exists in both America and also in South America as well, in North America and South America, where even other black people can cause you to second guess yourself and hate just a part of yourself that you cannot change about yourself at all. You know what I mean? Like, if you and I will never be able to understand that. We won't. It's just one of the many other ways where like oppression is different when it comes to black issues. We just won't. Like, there's not a single thing that you can compare that to with in the white existence.
now I'm more comfortable with looking at myself. I'm a good-looking, tall glass of chocolate milk, so,
chocolate.
I have a question. Like, do you at all feel like you've become the person that bullied you by then having this preference toward lighter-skinned people as opposed to someone that would look like you?
I will admit, yes. I will admit that. And, like I said, we just shooting a realism. So I do agree with that, yeah. And I think that's why now I'm focusing on myself, and, being a part of this discussion is very important for me, because I'm starting to, realize that prejudice needs to go. And I see this a lot in the entertainment industry now, where they want a black woman, but they want your complexion. They want that light skin that look like she can go in between the white family and the black family. And I think I only speak openly about it because I know there's a lot of people who feel that way too, but they don't want to admit to it, or they don't want to express it and be rejected. So I mean, you see it in the media too. So I think that plays a big part in that too.
I currently go to therapy. 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't currently go.
Me, my girlfriend's my therapist, but she don't like that. So I'm thinking about going fairly soon just to speak my mind, because I feel like there's a lot of things that.
Bro, this dude literally looks straight up like he came out of Boy Island. For those of you who don't know the show, there's a dude that looks kind of like him on Boy Island. The show. He's hot.
Everything's cool up front, but everyone has like something that's just like digging at them somewhat internally that, may hinder them in some sort of way, and I feel like, if you have that type of feeling, like, you should go.
Yeah, therapy can be going to the beach or like going out to eat or doing something that relaxes you. So
Physical therapy, going to the gym.
Hold on. we have to be able to draw a line.
I know what I'm saying. It's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm here because I took it as like sitting in front of a therapist, someone licensed to do this. Do I do that? No. Do I find other avenues to relieve stress or whatever? Yes.
But you can't mix up self-care with therapy.
Okay,
it's
maybe that's what
two
I'm
different
doing.
things. Yeah. I've been in therapy for quite some time, personal therapy, just for myself, just issues that I have internally that I speak with someone with on a professional level. I recommend therapy. Therapy is...
Colorism is huge in South Asia too. Colorism in China, for example, is not directly, like many people will incorrectly assume that colorism in China is a consequence of Western influence. But colorism in China is actually a classist. It has a classist roots, like completely around class. Day laborers had to work in the sun and therefore would have a darker complexions, whereas being white or having fairer skin implied that you were closer to royalty or directly royalty, and that you got to spend all your time indoors. There's also the caste system in India. You prefer women with normal sized heads, or you come to accept your small head? Oh my God.
Literally the best thing you could possibly do.
For me, I find therapy in my faith, and I know there are a lot of people who they look at like, the Christian church specifically and might not adhere to that. But I think in recent years, the church has been adding more professionalism to what therapy means.
Having these conversations, for some reason, it
What?
makes you feel like less of a man.
My man said church and therapy. That's never good. Those two words, when they come together, the third word you need to complete that puzzle is conversion. You know what I mean? It's like, that's immediately a red flag for me. That's what I think when I think church and therapy.
And because when we talk about therapy, people like, really? You going to therapy? But when you think about it, that's why a lot of people have anger issues. That's why a lot of black men have anger issues, because, they grow up a certain way or they face a lot of challenges and they don't know how to express it. So the first thing they do is they take it out on you or their girlfriend or their mom, and they don't have someone or an outlet to express it. So I think we need to normalize going to therapy and not pushing it off as a white thing. We need it. We need healing, and we need somebody to talk to us.
I think healing trauma is going to help Black people progress instead of just getting more trauma piling on top of each other.
Oh my God, he's assured this is JC Lover. Holy shit, I just noticed that. That makes sense.
And in a lot of ways, that does come into an aspect of personal responsibility.
He's a just curious lover, dude.
Because it's like my issues with my dad at a certain point has nothing to do with him anymore. At a certain point, it has to do with me and how I process it. And I have to go from, do I want to get angry every time I'm in the same room as him, or do I want to be able to walk in the same room as him and not have that reaction? And that was what I processed in my head when I was going through that therapy.
Bro, he does have some debate lord attitude, though.
My father was present in my life. 3, 2, 1, go.
Not to jump into this one, like I absolutely love my dad. I'm even getting a little emotional thinking about my dad. My dad's amazing. My dad was there for me in every way, shape, or form, every facet, every way that he could be there for me and more. He was there for me. He was there to pick me up from school. He was there at my soccer games, my track meets. He was my...
I didn't mean China when I said South Asia. Desi people are into colorism because of white colonial oppression. Wait, what? Doesn't the caste system predate that? Am I completely off base here? And the caste system itself is also like, I feel like British colonialism probably kicked it into overdrive, but it's like Sharia law, right? Sharia law was rarely ever applied in Muslim countries, but as a consequence of Western colonialism and like Western involvement in general, Sharia law became a centralized thing rather than piecemeal tribal legislation that was incredibly different from neighborhood to neighborhood pretty much. And that centralizing force was Western influence. And I feel in India, like a kind of a caste system predated. Maybe I'm wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong, by the way. But I feel like in India, the Western or British colonialism only kicked it into high gear. Sri Lankan here, caste system predates it, but then built on and enforced through brutality by the British, as far as I know. You're always wrong. 7-month subscriber, dude. You burped in the miok. Suck my diok. India literally has products that aim to promote a lighter color skin. We know, dude. We know.
I coached for soccer one year. My dad taught me everything that I know almost. He is who I model my personality after. He is who I aspire to be. I don't think I could have had a better father. It's almost why I'm discouraged to have kids, because I feel the pressure to live up to the example that he set for me. So he was there, still is.
I said somewhat disagree because I ended up being put in foster care when I was 6 years old with a couple of my younger brothers. And I remember, I don't remember what my dad looks like, but I do remember he passed away when I was around 7 or 8. So I can't really fault him for that. But, you know, my mom, she was widowed, so she lost a husband, and she decided to take care of us. And I don't think my life would be any different. I don't regret not having a dad, but sometimes I do wonder, you know, secretly, you know, what life would have been like if I had that fatherly figure in my life. And I think that's another stereotype that, you know, black men don't have their fathers in their life. And it's good to see, you know, a lot of y'all over there.
For me, my dad was not as present as he could have been. He's a typical older Belizean dude. Their culture is just very different from American culture. It's very passive aggressive. I remember times being young and I would question my mom all the time, like, hey, like, you know, why is he not around? Why is he not there? And, you know, she did the best she could as a single mother. Now I can say my dad is very present in my life. However, I feel like our relationship is very like financial based, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I don't have a real connection with my father. Like, he's there for me if I need something, like if I need to, like, if I want this, if I want that, like he's always there for me, like money wise. But I feel like,
bro, is this bathroom farther away from the stream room now? No, dude, it's like probably the same distance. I just peed longer, you weirdo. Jesus Christ, dude. That's insanity, dude. I swear to God, just another day in the life of a Twitch streamer, okay? It's like, I've been timing his pees. It seems like he's gone for a lot longer now. It's kind of fucked up. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's like I got 30K micromanager Andes up in here, dude. And some of the micromanagers are cool. Some of them are just like, I'm putting this in the spreadsheet. This is time off task. I've been watching you for 2.5 years. How the fuck do you notice that? You didn't know you left? I'm high as... Speaking of parasocial chatters, he wrote another essay. No, I'm not reading that this time.
I'm still like desiring for that real connection, like how you mentioned how you have that mental connection with your father. Like I feel like I don't have that, so that kind of puts a desire into me to where I'm desperate now to be a father. Not desperate, but I'm desperate to be a father, that I want to do it right and give the things and, you know, make sure that I nurture my kid more than just the money aspect of things. Like I want to be there, you know, in all ways possible. I kind of feel like now I kind of just suppress it and try to ignore it because he's here now, which I definitely feel like I shouldn't do.
I think that it's never too late to mend a relationship. It's never too late to rewrite the story. I mean, you can't go back in time and change anything, but you can definitely mend the relationship. Because although I have a good relationship with my father, relationships are constant maintenance and their work. And I know that parents can be toxic too. They can break your heart more than anyone else can. I'm not saying that your dad did. But maybe you should start today. Give him a call, invite him out for a coffee. You know, start somewhere.
Father's Day coming up, dog. You know what I'm saying?
And that is officially a wrap.
Hey!
And we got you guys some merch.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Jubilee merch.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jubilee. Oh, 2 pins.
That's right. Okay, folks, it's time. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.